Hi, welcome to our latest bonus chat. This is from our pod recording looking back over Leinster v Cardiff. If you missed it, you'll find it on Apple, Spotify, and all the other usual places. Now, when I started harping on rugby back in 2008, the intention was not only to harp on what was happening on the pitch, but also to keep tabs on what the experience of actually going to the matches was like for the spectators. I suppose with all the success enjoyed by Leinster and Ireland over the years, it's meant the coverage is leaning more towards the actual rugby. Plus, now I get more of a media's eye view of things on match days. But on Saturday, when we played Cardiff, I brought my 9-year-old daughter along to see what it was like. So for this bonus clip, I'd like to share our story and also discuss it with our panel, who are themselves both regular frequenters of the stands, whether it's the RDS, Aviva, or Croker. Starting with yourself, Connor, how do you find the overall experience?
I think one of the greatest gifts I ever got, and I was only thinking about it today, I'm nearly 20 years a season ticket holder. My mum and dad didn't know what to get me for Christmas one year, and that year I had paid for however many matches, and they thought, well, let's send them to regular ones. So getting the season ticket was one of the best things that I ever got, and I love going to the match on match day. I think there's a big difference this year because we're in the Aviva so often. One of the great things about the RDS is that there's a great variety of food options. You know, these guys bringing in their food trucks on the morning of, and lots of options, lots of availability, as opposed to the very limited options there are in the Aviva. And even less so in Croke Park, I think. I also think for bringing kids, the north and south stand in the RDS being unreserved seating is incredible, because it means that you're not panicked of, well, my usual seat is here in the grandstand or the angle seat, so there's no seats around me. You can't come to the rugby with me. I've regularly been able to bring my kids. My kids have been coming with me to rugby matches. My youngest was not quite 3 months old. My oldest was not quite 3 months old for her first game. And we love match day in the RDS because we get to sit together and we hang out, and there's often games or things outside, and the extra space the RDS provides makes it very, very easy for it to be family friendly in a way that, unfortunately, at the moment, the Aviva isn't being, and less so even than in Croker. Things like Autograph Alley are harder to arrange getting to because they're actually in Lansdowne Rugby Club. Player Q&As aren't as frequent this year, and I'm not sure if any have happened this year so far, because we don't have access to a large converted space that's been turned into a bar, as we have in the RDS. So I'm really hoping when we get back to the RDS, we're holding unreserved seating in north and south to give space for people to bring families in a much easier kind of environment. It's like, you don't like to be too close to the pitch. That's okay. We'll go sit up there. You've changed your mind. Okay, let's see if we can go sit down near the pitch and see if you can wave at Leo the Lion on his way past. Leo is amazing. I cannot say enough good things about Leo the Lion. He is brilliant with the kids. Absolutely brilliant. One of my favorite things I have is I have a picture of each of my kids with Leo the Lion. The first one was taken on a very rainy night, my eldest's first match, and I got a lion's head hat for Christmas one year, which I put on her, and I had Leo hold her up like Simba in The Lion King. And I've got a picture of certainly the older two. My youngest got ruined by COVID forgetting her proper picture, but she's got a picture with Leo the Lion, and that's such a big deal. When the guys I normally sit with want to bring their kids, my youngest this week was like, oh, I'm not going to the rugby. My friend isn't going to be there, so I'm not going. Because we bring our kids together, and it's really, it's great for them to associate that thing of, I've got my rugby friends as well. I think on a whole, the match day experience, the daytime kickoffs are harder because, it's easier to bring families and things too, but you don't get the light show. We all have to suffer through Mike McCarthy's attempt at generating atmosphere. I think there's a reason we let him retire from rugby. We should probably let him retire from this as well. I'm not loving his attempts pre-match. It's very artificial and it feels artificial. If you look back at the match the weekend, the attempt at the Viking clap, and even comms, the video you sent for us to do our rewatch, Chef, even comms are like, looking at how feeble the attempt is. Like there's people, there's no who coming on. You've got people going, woo. And I don't know, is that the kind of crowd who are coming in at the moment because it's the middle of the Six Nations, or should I say maybe the kind of crowd who aren't coming in at the moment because it's the middle of the Six Nations. But I suppose I just think at the moment the match day experience from a family point of view is suffering a little bit, because the RDS has so much space to make the match day experience work, which we don't have in our alternative venues at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of caveats, I suppose, for us chatting about this now because we are in the Aviva. I mean, I think they only opened the lower section, which was was pretty well filled for that section, considering, like you say, Six Nations, it's Cardiff, so there's not going to be a lot of Cardiff fans. And if you took that exact same crowd and put them in, say, the RDS, it'd be a much better atmosphere because it'd be a lot full. So there is, I mean, I found it was a different experience for us. I mean, my daughter definitely enjoyed it. I brought my 3 older kids before, and they were bored out of their bin after 5 minutes. The youngest at the time it was basically saying, "Can we go?" after 5 minutes, because we didn't know what was going on the pitch and whatever, and that was fine. So I was a bit more reluctant. But my daughter, my youngest was at me, "Oh, can you bring me? Can you bring me?" I was like, "You'll be bored. You'll be bored." But she's like, "No," she was determined to go. So, and this 3 o'clock kickoff, I think, suited us. The kickoff time, it stood out on the schedule as a good time to bring her. But yeah, no, we got to the stadium. I found parking. I usually park in my usual spot, but they changed one particular road to a Monday to Sunday time. And we parked and it was like, "Oh, we're grand, we're parked here." And I was bragging as we were driving up, all around here, Saturday weekend parking, you just park and go. But then we saw the time. So I thought they'd all changed. So that took us a while to find decent parking. But once we got in the stadium, I wanted to get her a program for the game. And normally I don't bother with programs, and they're kind of almost obsolete. But for this particular one, wanted to get one. As we were walking to the stadium, it was less than half an hour before kickoff. They were only just setting up to sell the programs, so we didn't have time. They weren't ready, and we were going in. The crowd was going in, so we went in. I thought we'd get one inside. Went to the clubhouse kiosk in there, and they said, no, you have to get them outside. And I was just like, well, that's a bit strange. I mean, your club shop, you think you'd sell it. So that, little things like that, but it doesn't ruin the day. But this is the kind of stuff I want to be talking about. But listen, we got seats, we got good seats close to the action. My daughter, which was good and bad, my daughter actually couldn't see over a lot of people. She ended up watching most of the game on the big screen, the massive screen that was beside us. But the fact of the matter is, she did watch the game. She was engaged. She was kept up with the score. She kept up with the action. She noticed that at one stage the score was 21-12, and then the final score was double that, exactly 42-24. So she was into what was happening on the pitch, which was great. Her favorite part was that bit where that Rob Russell try, when they kept, and that was in our corner, that was like right in front of us. So when they kept doing the replays on the big screen, what the crowd does is every time they showed the replay about 50 times, and it was like, yay. And we kept doing it. Yay. She loved that. I was explaining to her, we're trying to convince the referee. And in the end, he had to go with it, So that was fun. And this is a definite quote at the end. She said, "Oh, I'm sad it's over," at the full-time whistle. So that was good. She enjoyed it. It was good. We stopped for chips on the way home, and it was a good experience all around, What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, I'm going long enough to remember that the pre-match entertainment when I was going was just getting a pint in Bective when Rangers in Donnybrook. Yeah, it's changed.
One man and his dog down at Donnybrook.
Literally one man and his dog. But again, I think Connor started off the conversation the right way. It's just how important it was to sort of get that love of going to them rugby games. And I was sort of the same on a Friday night. Generally, the game was on a Friday night back then. Was meeting friends after work and just that engage. First of all, it was like a casual. We liked the rugby anyway, but it was just always a good way to unwind the week. And then you just sort of the bug gets you going, and it's. So I think we may be a bad demographic to be speaking about the Aviva, because I do feel the younger crowd, and it's interesting you hear your daughter. I've a daughter 12 and a daughter 18. They much prefer going to the Aviva than the RDS. We've had to adapt from, as in we, the Royal We, as our season ticket holders. There's sort of 9 of us that sit together, and we have a little WhatsApp group. So we tend to share, like, if people can't go, they can bring kids that way. So we're trying to overcome that problem that Connor rightly pointed out, that's lost from the RDS, where you can go into the North or South stand and it's unreserved seat, and that is so important that that's kept going forward. But like yourselves, I'm a bit of an RDS fan because I've been going there so long as well. I think the first season ticket was 20, it'll be 20 years this year. I think 05 was the first time season tickets was in the RDS, or sorry, in Leinster. That's, before that you were buying bulks of tickets, maybe 3 matches or 4 matches, and single match tickets. So yeah, we have lost something. So I think, but if you're going, as Connor pointed out, 20 years, it becomes part of your everyday week of what you're used to. Autograph alleys there, you can get a burger there, or a kebab there, or a pint there. And the certain pubs you can go, like traditionally where I'm coming in from Mead, you go into Sandymount, you'd have a pint, and you'd walk up to the RDS. So you do have that nice routine of just, you don't have to think about kids unless they're there with you. You've finished work. All the world life problems that's stressing you out during the week, you sort of on autopilot. So you're probably losing some of that, all right, in the Aviva, because you're far more spread out, as Connor pointed out. It's very hard to maybe meet up with other people. It's harder where you can circle around and meet somebody for a coffee or a drink, or whatever you're doing. Or so that the Leinster has all the bits and pieces set up in the RDS to go. And that all said, there's no doubt that we're getting bigger crowds. So the newer people, we 22,000 at the Dragons, the first game of the season. There's no way in hell there would have been 22,000 or anything near it if that game was in the RDS, even with the same conditions. So like that crowd easily doubled, as far as I know. It was the first game of the season, so you might get a bump for a Dragons game that you might normally get mid-season, but it was easily 7, 8, 9,000 more of that game than normally would be. So I think Leinster Rugby's issue is finding the balance between us settled fogies on not ruining our Saturday afternoon, and in fairness, Connor made some good points about being able to sit together with family and stuff like that, and that's something maybe they should look at it for next year in the Aviva, that you're able to get more tickets, have a transfer ticket where you can transfer your season ticket to somebody, and you get a credit for another part of the stadium or something. I don't know, where you were able to buy, where there's free seating, or at least unreserved seating. I think
Munster do that.
Yeah, well, the right.
It's worth saying Munster do that. That my old man has given up his regular season ticket there, so that when I go down for the Christmas game, he can get 2 tickets together, and they give you they do all the organizing for it and everything. I mean, it's not like the old days where we had the transfer was available through the season ticket, and that disappeared
Yeah,
through Ticket
that was
Leinster.
good. That was a good.
That was amazing.
Where did you say that was, Connor?
Sorry?
Where did you say, what ground? In Thomond?
In Thomond. Yeah, in Thomond. And you can give up your regular seat and swap it for however many seats you want together in a different part of the stadium. I mean, maybe it's because it's a bigger stadium, maybe because they've got more availability. It makes that a bit more possible, but it's very, very hard to reorganize tickets, except to turn around and say to somebody else, I want to bring somebody with me, so I'll be sitting somewhere else. Might see you for a pint afterwards.
And just finishing off, I think, look, Leinster are trying. They've got this new extra crowd that's going, that beyond ourselves, and whether it's Mike McCarthy's Viking clap, which obviously Connor's a big fan of. He reminds me of one of my friends, Hillary, who's in our group of 9, that goes, her pained expression every time it starts is actually our pre-match entertainment, watching her watch him. But Yeah, and look, they're trying with the light show. I get they're going to try some stuff. Some stuff will work. You can't please everybody. But as you say, it's Jeff's cater, it's Connor cater. If my kids come along, it's in some ways it's for them rather than us, and just those evening kickoffs help that. I think it's trial and error on some of the things they're trying to do. But we could find ourselves in the Aviva a lot more. I can't imagine Leinster are going to look at the extra revenue that's been brought in with way bigger average crowds than before. So it's interesting to see what to do. We might have a split. I don't know what the rental. Obviously, the RDS aren't doing up the whole stadium for no reason for Leinster to literally walk away. So we are tying ourselves in. I think it was a 20-year lease in 05. So that'll be up now. So I'm sure it's renewed on the back of this redevelopment, and as a core tenant, we're going to be there anyway. So hopefully the stuff for the consumer at the RDS will step up like as well. I think it's important that we don't sit still, because and modernize it a bit, because it's those comforts of the Aviva and the good views, etc. That we all know the Anglesey stand. I sit there, it's I'm not slight, but it's a tight squeeze. It's a tight squeeze when you're sitting with similar sized guys.
Plus, there's those bloody poles.
Yeah, plus hopefully they'll all be gone.
Yeah, that's a big
every 10
change.
seats
Yeah,
got a restricted view. But I think if once the new stand and all that matches, everything else should come up with it. So it'll be exciting to go back there. But they have to still learn lessons from what's gone well at the Aviva as well, and bring those back as well, and get some sort of happy balance between the two. But yeah, look, you're preaching the converted here. Going through a game and just it's we're doing this so long now. It's part and parcel of every home game and week. It's and hopefully more people get the bug. You know what I mean? It's a great social way of meeting new people. Like obviously we've all met through it ourselves. You know what I mean? There's a gang of us chat on WhatsApp from Harpin on rugby, and you just see more people away from traveling to away games for years. You see faces you meet, so it's just a great outlet for getting away from life or rugby or sorry work or whatever, and it just gives you a bit of a free headspace during the week. So yeah, I'd fully recommend it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you talk about match day experience, like you say, you both there's kind of two kind of buckets as well. You've got the family. You're bringing your kids and your family, your extended family to these matches, but also you've got lads going out a few pints and go out and talk about and right all the wrongs you saw and have a chat about the game afterwards. There's two kind of different things. I think the key element here, what we're talking about is you're talking about seating, and you're talking about it's like the Leinster have when the RDS is ready, when the new RDS is ready, they're going to have a serious job reallocating the season tickets for people who are used to seats in the first place. I mean, the layout of the seats is going to be different, and keeping everyone happy. I'd say they're kind of dreading the day when the emails go out to the season ticket holders. Okay, this is what you have, or maybe they're going to offer them a change or whatever. It's going to be a process that's going to need to be handled when they do have the new stadium. But listen, that's all to be seen down the line. But listen, overall, if you have your own thoughts about what it's like, if you enjoy it, if you think things can be changed different aspects of the match day experience, do leave it in the comments, and we'll definitely add it to the conversation. That's brilliant. Many thanks again to Tom and Connor for joining me. I hope to have you back on again soon. Thanks, lads.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah, cheers, Connor.